Hi, Peace with Endo community. How are you today? Thanks for taking the time to watch the replay of this video. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I do check back on those when I'm done. If you are new to the page, my name is Aubrey Daimler. I am an author and wellness coach who helps women with endometriosis to naturally manage pain, increase energy, and find peace with endo. So today I wanted to share with you 3 tips that can help if you are experiencing bladder pain or bladder flare-ups and or IC. If you haven't heard of IC, interstitial cystitis, I don't know if that's how you say it, I can never say that word, but it's basically having a painful bladder. And this is something that's very common with endo. It's a complaint that I see all the time in my private group, and it's something that I've helped my clients with, and it's something I've also experienced myself. And I know that there is nothing worse than experiencing bladder pain, in my opinion. So I know how irritating this can be. So I wanted to share with you 3 tips that have helped me along the way when this happens, when that bladder pain rises up, or if you have IC and that's been confirmed. So I would love to know if you have any other tips to share, but I'm going to share with you 3 that have helped me along the way. So the first one that I use if I have a bladder flare-up, which is kind of few and far between now, but in case this does happen, peppermint tea is really my go-to. And I love this brand, Traditional Medicinals, organic peppermint tea. So peppermint tea is so soothing. If you're in the middle of a bladder flare, the peppermint can go in there and kind of calm things down. So this doesn't necessarily solve the problem, but it can help you find some relief in that moment if you're in that really irritating place where you're having that flare up. There's been times where I've drank like 3 or 4 cups, no joke, of peppermint tea throughout the day. So this is always my go-to if I get a flare up, the peppermint tea. The second thing that I use is Demonose powder. If you haven't heard of Demonose, this is made naturally from fruits and vegetables, but it's actually designed to protect like the outer part of the bladder. It protects it from bacteria. So if you're constantly getting like urinary tract infections, this also helps as a preventative type thing. So I found that Demonose helps during a flare as well, but really it works more as like a preventative type measure. So you can take it every day if you tend to have bladder type issues, or if you tend to get recurring infections, or if you've got IC, any of the above. So I find this to be helpful. Again, there's been times where I've taken this multiple times during the day, and then when things were really bad for me, I was taking it every day as a preventative type measure. So you can get this at most of your health food stores. I like this brand Now. And I like to get the powder rather than the pills. Hey Christina, thanks for joining. If you are watching me live, go ahead and say hi. I love to know who's here. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, say hi too. Go ahead and type replay in the comments. Let me know how things are going in your part of the world tonight. So that's the second thing that really helps. Hey Violetta, thanks for watching. Is Demonose. Hey Tiffany, thanks for joining, ladies. So those are the first 2 things. So peppermint tea and Demonose powder. Those are really my go-tos, and always have those on hand. When things were really bad for me, I would take peppermint tea with me everywhere. Because you never know when that flare-up's gonna hit, right? And I know how debilitating this can be, and how, again, irritating the bladder pain can be. So the third thing that can help if you are consistently experiencing these flare-ups, if you've got IC, is your diet, right? Diet plays a role with everything, but it definitely plays a role with bladder pain as well. So if you've got IC, there are different diets out there specifically designed to give you some guidelines on which foods to avoid and which ones to add in. So if you go ahead and Google like the IC diet, there is that out there. I did follow that at one point when things were really bad for me, and it did help. So it gives you which foods to avoid. Some of the big triggers for me at the time were like tomatoes were a big one, or any kind of like citrusy type foods can be irritating. So check that out. I know that can feel very overwhelming because there's a lot of foods on the avoid list. So it's kind of a trial and error type thing, figuring out which ones are your triggers, which ones hurt, and which ones don't bother you. Another thing that can help if you've got IC is following a low oxalate diet. So that's another thing that you can Google. There's different guidelines as far as what to follow with that. And that one can be kind of hard because a lot of healthy foods are actually on the list. But again, it's trial and error and figuring out which ones help and which ones hurt you. Some of the higher oxalate foods are going to be like nuts and chocolate. I know that's depressing, but those are two that could be triggers for you. So you can Google that and see and get some guidelines on the oxalate diet, again, the IC diet. Also following like more of an alkaline type diet. So IC stands for, I think it's interstitial cystitis. I can never say that word, but it's basically painful bladder syndrome. That's like the medical term for it. So a lot of ladies that have endo are going to have IC as well. And I think also just having endo can cause your bladder to flare up because things are so close together in there. So when you have inflammation in that pelvic space or wherever the endo is in your body, it's very easy for that to flare up your bladder as well. So I know that this is a common concern with a lot of ladies. I know it was for me for a really long time. I struggled with the bladder pain, and I know how debilitating it can be. And again, just making sure that you're drinking lots of water and staying hydrated. Following more of an alkaline diet would be more plant heavy. So finding which fruits and vegetables you do better with, and making sure you have a balance there of eating more plants than anything else. And then some foods that can help, so foods to add in that can help with the bladder pain are going to be cucumbers and celery. Those are two big ones that can help you for longer term relief. So I think if you go after and can support your kidneys, because your kidneys play such a big role in the health of your bladder, right? Celery and cucumber are two foods that support your kidneys. And if you juice those straight up, so if you just juice straight up celery juice or juice just straight up cucumber juice, this can help so much. So I've had many ladies with IC, with dealing with the bladder pain, doing the celery juice in the morning, and now they don't have any of those symptoms anymore. So the celery actually goes in and breaks up some of the calcium deposits that can cause that irritation in your kidneys, that can cause issues with your bladder. And again, talking about the oxalates again, which are things that can come from plants, from healthy foods, but a lot of those things, if your digestion isn't healthy, can get stuck in there. So the celery actually helps to break up those deposits so they don't irritate your bladder. Christina says, thank you, flare-ups at the wrong time. Yes, right? They always come at the worst time. So these are some tips that can help you if that does indeed happen. So just to review, my go-to is always peppermint tea. I find peppermint tea to be super soothing if you have a bladder flare. So again, I've drank up to 3 or 4 cups of this at a time when I've had issues. And then D-Minos is another supplement that can help. D-Minos helps to protect your bladder from different bacteria, and especially if you're getting like urinary tract infections or UTIs all the time, D-Minos can be a lifesaver. It can actually kill off that bacteria, but it can also be used as a preventative type measure as well to help protect your bladder. And I have found some relief during the flare-ups, though the peppermint tea does work better, but D-Minos can help more as a preventative type thing. And then the third thing is diet. So go ahead and Google like the IC diet or the low oxalate diet, adding in cucumbers and celery. Those are two really big ones that can support your kidneys. Sorry, it's windy out here. Christina says cranberry does the trick also. Cranberry can help if you have a urinary tract infection. However, if you have IC, so if you're getting, when you have IC, you get the similar symptoms as when you have a urinary tract infection, but then you go in and you get tested and the tests come back clear. They don't find the infection in there. That's what happened with me. I went in like 3 or 4 times and every time my test would come back clear. So cranberry can actually irritate your bladder if it's not an infection. So if you've got IC, I wouldn't do the cranberry. D-mannose, yes, it's D-M-A-N-N-O-S-E, D-mannose. And I like the powder. I find that this dissolves better than the pill. Sorry, I know that it's backwards right now. But I'll drop a link to the supplements that I take in the comments when I'm done here if you want to check them out further. So those were my 3 tips. I would love to know if you have any other tips that I didn't share. Go ahead and drop them in the comments. Let me know what works for you. And another thing that I'm going to be sharing on the blog tomorrow is more about the strep virus. The strep virus can actually be a contributing factor to having painful bladder issues, to having issues with your kidneys, because strep likes to go down into your reproductive tract and it loves attacking your kidneys. So I'm going to be doing a blog on the strep virus tomorrow. So sorry, now somebody's calling. If this is an issue for you, definitely check out the blog tomorrow. And if you do need more help, I do offer one-on-one coaching sessions. I do offer a power hour, so you can come in and get guidance and direction from me. And I'll drop a link to that as well in the comments. If you do feel like you need more support and direction and a compassionate ear to share what's going on with you, I can provide you with more action steps depending on your individual situation on what can help you. So I hope that this was helpful for you tonight. Hi Carrie, thanks for watching. If you did find this helpful, I invite you to share with some hearts. If you want to catch me next time when I'm live, hit the little dots at the top of the video, get live notifications, and you can join me next time. But thanks for watching tonight. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.